Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Learner's Podcast. Today we are going to have a third session on the interdisciplinary research. In this we have already covered the two sessions. We have already discussed the research science, the difference between the research and the science, research methods, research methodology, and the kinds of the research. So with me today, Dr. Akram from Islamabad, Dr. Arshad Zahir from Islamabad, and also Dr. Badmasi Sani from Nigeria, okay, and Dr. Nasir from Tanzania, and Dr. Tijani from Nigeria. Okay, so welcome participants for sparing your time. Okay, viewers, another thing I would like to share with you that whatever we are discussing in these sessions, in the form of the points, in the form of the handouts, I have put it in the blog of the Learner's Podcast. And if you go into this Effective Researcher link, if I click it here, so you will reach this page. Yeah, okay. And this is a page which contains a lot of stuff related to the research. I put many things in it, but here the link, weekly live sessions, interdisciplinary research dialogue. If you just click it here, it will take you to the page of this page related to the sessions that we are conducting here in the interdisciplinary research. So I have put all the points that we have discussed in our previous sessions and even including today. So anyone, if he wants to, someone wants to review those points, so they are available in it. Okay. So like as we are discussed the research onion in the last session. So this is a point. The link of this blog is already given in the description of the video. Okay. So when we talk about the interdisciplinary research, so generally what we mean is basically the interdisciplinary approach integrates the different tools, the data, techniques, different perspectives, theories, and the concepts from the multiple disciplines to enhance the knowledge. Okay. And to explain certain phenomena. So this is the basic reason of conducting these sessions, that we can understand how the research across the different disciplines can effectively be managed. Okay. So as we know that the different disciplines have the different epistemologies, and they have their their theories. They use the theories with respect to their disciplines and the applications. Okay, but nowadays in the research, this interdisciplinary approach is being used by the universities and in the research centers. Okay, and the traditional approach of the strictly following the disciplinary approach only is not sufficient enough to address the issues which are the overlapping the multiple disciplines. So with this perspective, we have initiated this discussion, and today we are having our third session. We are basically initially focusing on the basic the concepts, the paradigm of the research, consisting of the philosophies, approaches, strategies, and how all these things, the elements of this research paradigms can effectively be integrated into the research. So when we talk about we have already discussed the research process, which is you can say a combination of the observation, rationalization, and the validation. Okay. In the observation, we generally observe the phenomena, the natural phenomena, the social phenomena, the behavior. Okay, and when we in the rationalization, what we do is we just try to develop the sense of that observed phenomena. Okay? We try to understand that event. We try to relate the different things within that phenomena. Okay, we just in the form of just picking up the different, connecting different dots. Okay, and in the validation phase, what we do is that we test out, we use the theories, we apply certain theories, and use the scientific approach to analyze, to collect the data, and to analyze the data and design our and also we see the either it is solving the problem or it is adding up into the new knowledge. So with this in the mind, today our session, when we first of all, I would like that our participants would put the light on the research paradigm. The research paradigm is an approach of investigating and examining the social phenomena or the natural phenomena, okay, from which we develop our understanding, okay, about the world, about the situation. So the research paradigms are expressed by the research philosophies. The research philosophies is a set of beliefs concerning the nature of the reality being investigated. It is generally examined in terms of ontology, epistemology, and axiology. These are based on the views a researcher contains. We generally, for the research philosophies and the research paradigms, we take the help of the research onion, that as we have seen in the last session. So today in this session, we are just going to see further into this. So next, talking about the research methodology tree, as you can see that there are the research methods, there is methodology, the concept of ontology and epistemology. If we see this research tree, so we can easily understand the overall concept of the research. Research methods are basically, they explain exactly how we collect our data. Whereas the research methodology, it shows how we can collect the data in the best possible way. Okay, so talking about the ontology, ontology is about knowing that how we view the world. It is basically a researcher's view of the nature of the reality, what constitutes the reality, and how can we understand its existence. Epistemology, on the other hand, is about knowing that how we should investigate the world. Epistemology is the researcher's view regarding what constitutes the acceptable knowledge. What is acceptable knowledge in particular field of study? So epistemology is the researcher's view regarding what constitutes the acceptable knowledge in a particular field of studies and how can we obtain it. So in the last session, we have discussed the concept of the research onion to see the different research paradigms. Research onion, basically it shows the 6 layers, and the researcher moves from the outer layer to the innermost layer, which is the core layer of the onion. So generally names that these layers is given is the outer first layer is the philosophies, second layer is the approaches, third layer talks about the strategies, fourth layer talks about different choices, fifth layer is the time horizon, and the sixth is the data analysis techniques. So in today's discussion, now I would like to invite our honorable participants to discuss on these things. So, first of all, I would like to request Dr. Arshad Zahir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Musa. In the last lecture, we discussed about the research onion, and research onion is a very important tool to understand about the research design. We can design our research, and in this onion, there are the 4 to 5 approaches, which are actually the layers that how we can design our research. And in the last lecture, I think we have discussed that the outermost layer is about the research philosophies, which helps us understand this world and which gives us the interpretation about the different beliefs. Mm-hmm. And after the philosophy, there are the approaches. There are the 2 important approaches which we actually use in the research, that is deductive research and inductive research. So that relates to the research approaches. Then after that, we'll have to decide about the different strategies about the research methods. So all these things and methodologies that on the whole that constitute the and that research onion. So each of these layers is to be discussed in detail when we are trying to understand the philosophy of the research. Yeah.
So all related to this, sir, there is a question from the viewer. One of the viewer from the last session, he has just sent me a very interesting question. So from the learners, the student point of view, we have started discussing on straight away. We started discussing on the philosophies and all these research onion things. Okay, but my point of view, the students, the viewers' point of view is this the first step of conducting the research? So, so what is your? How would you answer this question?
Okay, deciding about the research philosophy, I think that may not be the first step of conducting the research. That, technically speaking, that will come under the research design. Yeah. But what happens in research, that when we start the research, so there should be something in the mind of the researcher that in the future, what philosophy he is going to use in his research. Yeah. But basically, that's part of the research design.
But generally, it's kind of if you say kind of a river. That if we need to cross the river if this is the river is the research, we just make this analogy. So we are just developing an understanding that how to see this river, how to see the crossing of this river. So that is basically not the beginning of the research. Beginning of the research is definitely from the conceptualization, from the observation. But we have to design to investigate, to rationalize that thing. We need to have some research methodology, and research methodology this research onion helps us to understand that research methodology.
Okay, there is another important thing I would like to add. When we use the different formats in the research, so we really apply the chronological format, that we'll have to decide that this is the first step and this is the second step. We usually use the logical format, and but technically speaking, I would again say that the deciding about the research philosophies will be mostly the part of that research design.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much. Okay, Dr. Nasir, would you like to comment on it, sir? Generally, because I know in the
okay, I concur with my brother. I don't know his name so far, but his story is like from Nigeria. I concur because, as you said before, as he said that we need to have a format, and that format sometimes it's not so common. But from the beginning, we need to be clear that we need to start with this step, and then come to the second step until to the ends. But what's important is that, because as you see, it's all about research design. That's where you decide either to use which kind of because the philosophy also is guided by the design so far. Yeah. So it's better we make a decision that's okay. First of all, because we are just training those researchers, they're supposed to know steps. And then from steps there, that's where we can decide now under what philosophy someone is going to do research. And from which philosophy you get a certain kind of design. So it's better we go in that direction. That's Tell them, you better tell them, okay, we are just doing research. Whenever you're just doing based on which kind of philosophy, whenever you're just going to be based on qualitative or quantitative, but the first step with this one, second step with this one, the third step, until you to the end.
Yeah,
and then from there,
we will come to that. Now. Yeah, that is basically our understanding is. What we have decided is just to discuss this overall picture. The paradigm of the research. And we will be discussing when we will come to the research process. The steps in the research process. Definitely, we will begin it from the start. So thank you very much, sir. Okay. Now let's proceed further. So Dr. Akram, sir, if you see, the tree of the research, would you just put some light, on the overall understanding of this thing, ontology, epistemology, and all these things?
Surely, sir. Basically, after the philosophy, which is basically development of knowledge, as we know that we have to see the different, philosophies. Like positivism, realism, interpretism, and pragmatism. So, with respect to that, we have how do the difference lies in these things, the terms which you have spoken. That how does the researcher places himself or herself with view to that?
Yeah.
Like I think, in my view, it is the difference from the point of view of the researcher. The difference only lies from the point of view of the research. And in ontology, the researcher's view of the views is different, nature of reality. Ontology means the researcher's view of the nature of reality of being.
Yeah.
And if, let's say, that researcher is looking at the positivist paradigm, so he thinks his ontology is that the reality is external, objective, and independent of social actor.
Okay, Dr. Tajani, I am coming to you, sir. Just turn on your mic.
Okay.
Just
yes.
Yeah. Just your comments, sir, about this thing.
Yeah, of course. I think they have said it all, but only what I'm trying to shed more light on is when we look at ontology, it's more or less the study of reality, and it describes the nature of reality, what comes to mind when conducting the research, and what the relation impacts, that is the rational impact, does it possess on the society and also surrounding. For instance, if we look at it, it has three fundamental things, three significant issues, which is objectivism, as Dr. Verily mentioned. The objectivism makes you understand a social event and the different meaning that different people attach to it. So in terms of trying to be objective in your research, that deals with it. And when we look at the second thing, which is under
there is some voice issue. Okay.
Sorry, I got caught up by network.
Yeah, okay, no problem.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear. Yes, please.
As I said, objectivism, which is deal with the understanding a social event and the different meaning that different people attach to it. So when we look at the constructive, which is something that propose that is people that create social phenomena, which opposite of objectivism. So we can see under ontology, we have three things, and we have pragmatism, which use the theories to identify a solution of a given issue when comparing to others. It is relatively new too. Yeah, if you are conducting something new which is not in place before, so you can use this pragmatism, which consider the alternative to others. So this is about the ontology. What of the epistemology? Epistemology, the difference between ontology and epistemology, I think epistemology, what constitutes the valid knowledge and how can we obtain it? While ontology, what constitutes the reality and how can we understand the existence of being? So I think these are the little things that I have to add on it, but they have explained everything in details. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Tajani. Okay, Dr. Rahmatullah, are you there, sir? Can you turn on your mic, please? Dr. Shazir, sir, please.
Okay, research philosophies comments that have been very well explained by the participants. I would just like to add something to whatever said by the participants, because philosophy is a very important topic. So I will just give some comments about the philosophy, because we do the philosophical thinking when we ask ourselves whether something that we believe is reasonable to believe. And when we talk about the beliefs, so beliefs means what is considered acceptable and what is considered not acceptable. And reasonable belief is simply a belief for which a good reason can be given. So reasonable beliefs, and they are logically justifiable. So logic plays a very important role in making a belief a reasonable belief. And a belief that is reasonable stands a better chance of being true, because, of course, we are searching about the truth, whatever we do in philosophy. So philosophical thinking leads to the realization that our attempts to see and find the truth, that is not final actually, but open to improvement, and that may have the different criticism and the critical discussions in getting nearer to the truth. So actually, we always try to get nearer to the truth when we talk about the philosophy. So in short, when if we define the philosophy, we can say it is the search for the truth that involves following the arguments and evidence. That is very important. And again, these two terms plays a very important role in research. That is argumentation and evidence. Without recourse to the authority, wherever they may lead, frequently arriving at a acceptable conclusion. So that is about the philosophy, that we will have to be nearer to the truth, and we will have to include our beliefs in order to nearer or close to the truth. No, actually, philosophy is the component of the many sort of things, or we can say it may have the different branches, of which the two important terms, or we can say the branches, are the ontology and epistemology. And these are two very important terms. We can also say these are the two important branches which actually design the research philosophy in research. So as rightly said by the different participants, that ontology actually is the branch of philosophy, or is the term which we use in research philosophy that answers the questions, what is reality? And it helps actually in defining the three important things. One is what is reality? Then what is the relationship between the components of the reality? So answering these questions actually constitute the concept of ontology. Again, as rightly said by the different participants, the other branch or the term which we use in research is the epistemology. Yeah. How we receive knowledge. Okay, to get the knowledge, which method we will use to get the knowledge. So when we use both of these approaches, that is ontology and epistemology, then we actually define the research philosophy. And according to these ontology and epistemology, there are the different sort of beliefs which can be included in both of these branches of philosophy. And by the combination of each of these beliefs, we can have the different sort of research philosophies, as again rightly said by the different participants.
And Dr. Ashad, there is a related concept also. I mean, if we are discussing the ontology and epistemology, there is axiology also. I mean, that relates to basically the judgment about the value of the researcher. I mean, how the researcher view the things. I mean, what is his own, belief system that drives his decisions. Okay, like for example, when we say someone is for collecting the data. I mean, if someone in place of floating the questionnaires, he just likes to conduct the interviews. So that's basically his approach of doing that research. That is derived by his value. So also, besides discussing on the ontology and epistemology, I would like that you also explain this concept of axiology as well.
Okay, very rightly said. Axiology is also one of the branch of the philosophy. All these can be included as the branches of the philosophy. And again, you rightly said that it deals with the nature and the types of the values. Now, values means again that is related to the beliefs, that what is considered good and what is considered bad. And when we use this branch in ethics and religions, because there are the different things which can be considered good and which can be considered bad in the different religions, in the different regions. So that is the branch, again, the branch of philosophy which deals with the value.
Okay. Okay, Dr. Nashir. Are you there, sir?
Sorry, brother, the voice is not clear. Don't hear you, please. Can you put your devices, okay?
Okay, just I want your comments about this.
I don't hear anything.
Yeah, I want just your comments about this that we are discussing about the ontology, epistemology, and the axiology.
No voice, brother.
Can you hear me, sir? Is a problem. Okay, Dr. Arshad, if we move from the ontology, epistemology, and the axiology to the philosophies, and we come across this the outer layer of the research onion, if you see it, we find that there are the different the philosophies that are shown by the research onion. Like, for example, there is a positivism, there is a realism, there is interpretivism and pragmatism. So this is where now I would like to move on, but we will continue this discussion in our next session. But if you can very quickly, generally, can tell us about these different philosophies, positivism, pragmatism, interpretivism, and realism, just quickly, so that.
Thank you, sir. Okay, as we just discussed about ontology and epistemology, and we conclude that there are the different beliefs in each of these term and each of these branches. For example, ontology may have the different sort of beliefs. Similarly, in epistemology, it may have the different sort of beliefs. So by the combination of these beliefs of ontology and epistemology, we can develop the different sort of research philosophies which you are talking about. For example, if we take one of the belief of ontology, which says that there is only one reality which can be measured. Now, this one reality which is actually concerned with the concept of singularity and which can be measured or which has a particular tool for its measurement, that is actually related to the other belief of epistemology. So by combining these two approaches or beliefs in ontology and epistemology, we can develop the research philosophy which we call positivism, and which is actually quantitative, in nature, which participants have discussed about that. So by the combination of the different beliefs in each of these approaches, we can develop the different research philosophy. There are a lot of research philosophies, and among these, the most important are these positivism and constructivism, pragmatism, and a lot of other, but these are the most important. So all of these research philosophies are actually developed by a combination of the different approaches which have been defined as the beliefs in ontology and epistemology.
Okay, so what you suggest that, for a researcher, understanding these philosophies or some of these philosophies is important. Is it necessary that a researcher has to have the knowledge about all these different, the philosophies that are available, or he should have just, like this research onion is showing 2 or 3 or 4 philosophy. Is that sufficient for them, for him to have the understanding about the philosophies?
Okay, as far as my opinion is concerned, when we do the research at the very high level, like PhD or we are doing MS, so we should have the ideas about the research philosophies. No matter we will use it in our research or not, but we should have a very basic idea about each of these philosophies. But of course, we can use only one or two philosophies and methodologies in our own research. But at the lower level, its importance is not as such. But as a researcher, we should have the idea about each of these philosophies.
Okay, great. Okay, Dr. Tajani, would you like to comment on it, sir?
Yes, thank you, Prof. I think Doctor have said everything, but what I wanted to say is initially when you are conducting a research, definitely one way or the other, directly or indirectly, you are relating yourself with those philosophies, only that is not known to you. As Doctor recently said, that if you want to do your research, for instance, in a master's or PhD level, you must know this fundamental issue because they didn't judge your own research. They beautify your research. It takes you, or it's indicating that you as a researcher knows exactly what you are doing. But in the absence of understanding all these fundamental issues, you become mixing up things. So as a good researcher or somebody that is want to undergo a research must know, for instance, advanced research level per se must, I think, I may, based on my own suggestion, I may suggest to him to know how to understand these fundamental things so that he will not mix up the things. When he comes to the issue of methodology or how to arrange the philosophy of his research, it will be in an appropriate position. Thank you.
Okay, good. Okay, great. Thank you very much. So, any participants, if anyone wants to comment on today's discussion, Dr. Akram, Dr. Nasir.
I think I have just one thing. If we could, I don't know. I didn't attend the first session. Have we talked about the difference between the philosophy and paradigm, sir?
Now, paradigm. When we say the paradigm, we have discussed it in generally. The general overall picture, the paradigm of the research, and that is basically shown by the research onion. Research onion explains the different paradigms that we have in the research. So in that perspective, we have basically what we are doing is we are discussing the research paradigm. So these are the different components, the different aspects of that paradigm. So in that way, we are.
I think can we have the views of our Honorable Dr. Arshad Zahir about this? If he can throw some light, because I think this reference book is giving some material. I haven't been able to grasp fully that those metrics which it has given under the paradigm. But I think we need to contemplate on this thing because normally this word is being used interchangeably with philosophy or paradigm.
Philosophical paradigm.
I think I would request Dr. Arshad.
Yeah, please, sir. Dr. Nasir, Dr. Arshad, anyone can.
Okay, sure, sir. Actually, again, philosophy and these paradigms again are related with each other. Sometimes we can define the paradigm that it is the set of the shared beliefs, and the same we are talking about the beliefs in the philosophy. And sometimes we can say the philosophical paradigms. Okay, but both of things are concerned with the beliefs. That is the beliefs. So, in simple way, if we say that paradigm, that is the set of the shared beliefs which we use in research. So when we discussed about the different philosophies like epistemology, ontology, which we just discussed about, so actually we are discussing about the different research paradigms. That is the combination of the different shared beliefs which can be used in research.
Okay, great.
Well, sir, I think if we can have a suggestion here that if in the next session we can contemplate more on this paradigm thing, because
definitely
in your reference there is a figure 4.2 in that chapter, which says 4 paradigms of the analysis of social theory, and it gives about radical change, regulation, objectivist, and subjectivist. There are 4, sort of things which I think we need to understand.
Actually, what we are doing is, we are not in hurry. Actually, one thing is, one should, our viewers and everyone, participant need to be clear that we are not in hurry. Okay, we are having the dialogue, we are having the discussions. Okay, whatever our viewers are commenting, whatever the group members are discussing, if there is any confusion or whatever can come to the mind of the researcher, we are discussing on this platform. So we will be discussing in philosophies in the number of coming sessions. We are not just closing the philosophy discussion today. Okay, we have just shown the research onion in the previous session. Today we have discussed on the ontology and epistemology and axiology. I myself feel there is a more discussion. that needs to be done on the ontology, epistemology, and the axiology. But just for have the first understanding, the view about these 3 terms, we have just initiated it today. So in the next session, we will be discussing more on the ontology, epistemology, and relating that with these philosophies that are shown on the first layer of the research onion. Okay,
I have a suggestion in this regard, sir. I have a suggestion here, sir, that if we could, in our modus operandi that we are adopting, if we could allocate certain headings and topics to the specialists or the volunteers who know that thing fully, so that the others may benefit out of it. Otherwise, our doubts and things will not be cleared. For example, those who are experienced researchers or who are senior in the research field, they may undertake, for example, that we know that so-and-so will be talking on this thing, and he should talk about 10 to 15 minutes to enlighten. And then question and discussion.
That is possible. We have discussed already with the Dr. Ashar Zahir, because there is one, in our coming lecture, we are going to initiate another thing, is that our participant can give the PowerPoint presentation on the topic. Okay, so that is also one of the possibility. So it depends upon our participants, our experts, who are joining. So if someone wants to give the presentation, PowerPoint presentation, so he can give, no problem for us. Otherwise, we can generally discuss. Basically, our perspective is not only to our audience are not only the students, the beginners, who are just initiating or starting the research. Our audience are the research scholars. Our audience are even the PhD scholars, and even the faculty member who already know enough about the research, who are even teaching the research in the universities and college. Okay. So definitely, as you have very rightly said, there are certain confusions, and this is the area that we have selected. This research philosophies first to discuss. Basically, this is the area which is creating the more confusion as compared to if we just come on to the research process. Just from conceptualization to operationalization and then further moving on. That is it's a state where it's not that. We need to have a discussion, but on these areas, there is a confusion. So we will be discussing it. So I would like if Ashar Zahir would like to bring some PowerPoint presentation on this thing in the next session.
Okay, there's a very good suggestion by Mr. Akram. Again, as you said, that there's a confusion about all of these, concepts. हमारे वो टीचर थे डॉक्टर सैफ, अभी डेथ हो गई उनकी, वो ये कहते थे जब कंफ्यूजन हो ना तो it means you have started the research.
Yeah.
So you cannot.
Dr. Tajri, what he is saying when there is some confusion, we should start. It means we have started the research.
So it's a very good thing that we have started the research.
Yeah, we have started research. We have started a discussion, and our confusion is coming out.
And believe me, this confusion cannot be 100% overruled in this world, because that's why we are all sitting here to clarify these confusions. Again, philosophy, as I said earlier, philosophy is a very big subject, and we cannot discuss it in 2 or 3 days.
Yeah,
But what actually we do in research, we should have the basic ideas about the basic concepts about the philosophy, because of course we are not going in detail about philosophy. But of course it will be very good if we have the basic ideas about this philosophy. So you are right. If there is a good presentation, I would try to do a presentation of this philosophical thinkings of this research. That will be better.
Yeah, basically, Dr. Akram want that something, in the form of the handout, something in the form of the presentation, so that it can be more, understandable for the learners. He's basically talking about the learners' point of view. Basically, those who are, might be beginners in the research. Dr. Akram, what we are doing, which philosophy we are following while doing this discussion. This is realism. We are following the realism. So all this things, this is what we actually, once our concepts will be clear, then we will be in a position to say what we are doing. Okay, we are the follower of the interpretivism, or we are following the pragmatism or the positivism. So this is basically, if we are able, after a few sessions, if we are able to understand this thing, I think this is our success then. This is what my purpose is. Basically, all those who are attending the session, all those who are participating in it, and all those who are watching its video afterwards, if they have some learning, they have their concepts clear. And even I have allowed I requested my viewers that they can send the comments, they can send the question, so that we can just discuss on this forum. So this is the beginning, sir. This is our third session. And again, another reason of that why I am not bonding anyone to bring the presentation, because of this is not possible for me that we can bond any participants to this session because of their personal commitment. And second thing, this is a volunteer activity. So I'm really thankful to all the participants if they can spare some time and they can come here on this session and discuss the things, so that everyone can get the benefit of it. So at the end, I'm just now going to say thank you very much to all the viewers, all the participants for sparing your time and discussing on this and giving the good suggestions, particularly by Dr. Akram. So inshallah ta'ala, we will be meeting again in the next week with some more knowledge, with some more points and more discussions. So thank you very much. So I'm just going to close the session.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Well done.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, all the participants.
Jazakumullah khair.
Allah Hafiz. Allah Hafiz.